Hi, and welcome to another lesson of PHP blog website development. Today, as you can see, we have already ready our front-end design, our login page, registration page, and our single post page. That's great. It's good. Today, we can finally start talking about what's our databases, make our own database, and to move on making our static HTML design into dynamic side using PHP. So if you are following along, just open your coding application and follow me. First of all, we have this code, but we are not going to make it today for the beginning. First of all, let's talk about an application which is called AMPPS, or you need to set up your own server on your computer. It will be as every website in the internet, except the fact that it's only available on your own computer. So basically, it's the same website, but it's on your local host, which means it's available for you and you can make it available for the devices on the same Wi-Fi network. There are a lot of applications which are doing the job. In my case, I'm using AMPPS, which is a pretty good and interesting application. Actually, I like it. There is also others, exam, but actually I like this one. So what is for you to do, you just need to download the application and I'm using Windows. You can choose a Mac OS if you like it. And I'm gonna pause the video until the download is complete. Okay, so my download is done. I'm gonna attach the link for you to download as well. Just follow the link, download it from only official resources, not to have any malwares installed on your computer. I'm gonna go to my downloads folder, and basically what I can see in here, it's here, the AMPPS 4.2. After we open the application, you can just follow the usual installation process, nothing very special. I will guide you in this, but I won't go until the end because I already have it installed. Like, we accept the agreement, we say next, it gives us some information what it has. It has WordPress, Joomla, so I don't need to download plugins. It already have, you can install it. I will show you how in another video, of course. It's not about that. And we click next, and we don't need to install. The installation runs. I'm not gonna do it, but once you close it, and actually when you open the application, it's right here on the right corner. It's a bit closed, but as you can see in the top is Apache server is turned on. Just below is MySQL server, which is turned on. I'm gonna click home and see what happens. This is the magic. This is our environment where we are gonna start working. So from database tools, first of all, we need to have a database to connect the PHP to. I'm going to choose PHP which is the database management tool for MySQL databases. MySQL is one of the most used databases in the world. The default username is MySQL and the default password is root. I believe I made a mistake. Let me check it out. Oh, so I just made a mistake. It's just the opposite. The username is root and the password is MySQL. I'm gonna leave it in the description too. Let's say touch go, and it opens the tool we have. I already have these databases installed, so I'm not gonna. I'm gonna add another new ones. So I will call it blog in our case, and just tap create. So the database is created, but it's not the only thing. We need to create a table too. And for our table, one of our tables, which will be about the users of our website, I'm gonna have 5 columns. And the name are gonna be users, and I tap go. After all this is done, we need to make the name of the columns, which are gonna be. So first of all, we usually have ID, which you will pretty sure you will see almost everywhere. And this is how we use it. Let's have a tea break just to make the lesson more interesting. So whatever you see here, the ID is like a passport. Like everybody will have a few has a national ID or passport. Like what you can see in your is different from country to country, but you have something which just belongs to you. The same will be about our users. Each of our users are gonna have their own unique IDs. And for IDs, we just put here integers, no changes at all, and we leave everything here by default. We don't need to paste. Maybe we can just put 12 digits length. Like it means we can have this much, like 12 numbers like this. Like imagine how many users you should have. I believe even Facebook does not have this number of people. And about the attributes, or I'm gonna leave the same. I will make another lesson about MySQL, but usually like this is how you make it, just pretty simple database basis. It's our primary column, so it's gonna be primary, and it's gonna be AI. It's gonna be about ID. It's correct, and I turn on auto incrementation. So what this does, after first user creates the account, it gets the first ID number 1. If other comes, he gets ID number 2, the other ID number 3, and so on. So this is what auto incrementation does. So we don't have to write the code and do something and just do something manually. Program does everything for ourselves. Let's go on this side and see what we are gonna have more. Of course, every user is gonna have a username. Every user is gonna have an email, and every user is gonna have a password too. And I think it would be nice to save also when the user account was created. So let's go one by one. First of all, we need integer here. We don't need a string. I'm gonna teach a lesson where I show difference between integer, string, floating numbers, arrays, and so all the data types which you can really have in PHP. For username or our admin, I think it could be nice to have maybe a varchar, nothing else needed. Varchar is the type of a text you can have. Email is gonna be varchar. Password is gonna be varchar too. And the creation date, let's find here. Let's see a date and time. I am gonna put here the timestamp. You can see here difference. There are just timestamp, and there is daytime. Just timestamp has more limited timing. Like you can put here dates starting, it gets dates starting 1970 up to 2038. I think is all we need. And daytime, it gets a bit more. It gets from 1001 up to 3000 something. I believe we won't have people who got logged on the website, registered on the website in 3002 after Christ. So I believe this is all okay, but I think I'm gonna add another column too. So what this column is gonna do is gonna say if the user is admin or no, because in the end we will have to create an admin panel and someone has to have authority to change everything. And this is gonna be integer too. It's gonna have just 1 or 0, because in PHP 0 is equal to false and 1 is equal to true. So if the user is not an admin, it will get false because its value will be 0. And let's put here a limit. Usually it's typical to put 255 55 characters limits. in here, and I believe that's all. We are good to go. But for email, let's make it unique before we leave this area. It will be somewhere here, I guess. Yeah, it's unique. So the database is not gonna let us to have a user which is registered in our website 2 times with the same email. I'm gonna hit go. It's unique, nothing else needed. And what we need to do right now, we need to go a bit raw. We need to just hit save. Everything is done. And see, we already have our database up and running. That's nice. We have finished with the database, and let's browse it right now. And you will see that it's still empty, but we are gonna fill all these values right after we are able to create a database connection with our file. So let's remember we have the file created in here, but it's not really where we wanna work because MySQL server, which runs on Apache, like Apache is like usual program, a program which is used to create servers. So our Apache has default root. Root is supposed to be the main directory where our websites and files are being stored. And this is where from Apache starts getting the websites. We need to move this to a root folder. So I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna do like this and go to, this is the file where we worked together in here. I'm gonna just copy this file, open it for us one more time, and I already have it saved. It's called www. Let's click in here and I'm minusing the AMPPS dashboard. You can see the list of the websites I really have here, and you can see if you are using Windows, maybe you are on macOS or on Linux, you can it's gonna, I'm not sure where it is. You can find in the documentation of MySQL AMPPS website. It's for Windows, it's in cdisk where your programs are being installed. Program files AMPPS www. Let's paste it here. That's nice, but to access the website, it would be better and easier for every time typing URL. It will be hard. I'm gonna make a shorter name. I'm gonna call it blog website. That's here. And now let's check out together what we have got. Now, right now, when I go to localhost, which is the URL to our host, and let's search for the name we have put here, blog website. Yeah, and nice, see, it gets our content. So, but it just runs yet our on HTML, so we need to move and make our website running on PHP. For this reason, I'm gonna go to www or right click on blog website and open with code. So our website is being opened in VS Code application, which I'm using. So this is what we have. We need to make all this into PHP. Otherwise, we won't be able to make the website dynamic. I'm just gonna change the ending. Just right click, then you touch here, rename, and it becomes PHP one more time. I believe we used this in one of our last post lessons. I'm gonna delete this file. We don't need it actually. I am gonna call this register.php and in single HTML I'm gonna rename it as well. So we have everything in PHP up and running, but that's not really the end. So right now, I think we are need to create an include folder, which is gonna be called not inside assets in the root directory of our project. It's gonna be called inc, and it's gonna hold most of our files which we don't actually need to have in the root directory. So I'm gonna move inc into includes, and that's good. Let's add here another folder, and I'm gonna call it db. So what this db is gonna do, db is gonna have the connection into database, and this is where we are gonna create a file where we will write the code of PHP communication. To do this, I am gonna create inside our db a file called database.php, and what we are gonna do here, we are gonna use PDO to connect to the website. Just let's write some details. I'm gonna describe you about them just in a minute when we are done with coding. First of all, let's call our driver name, which is gonna be MySQL. So PDO, in a difference to MySQLi, which are two main ways of communicating with the databases in PHP, is able to communicate to more databases. MySQLi just works with MySQL, so no need to put which SQL service we are using. But in case of PDO, we need to tell that this is MySQL. Then we are gonna give the details. So our host is gonna be localhost. Our username is gonna be root, and the password is gonna be MySQL. And on the top of that, I want to also, maybe on some computers there may be problems with the char set. I just want to tell that I want UTF-8 char set. So I am gonna put $sign here and call it chars, and it's gonna hold the value of UTF-8. I believe it's good, but I'm doing one more thing which I think is good to be done. Maybe in our website where we are gonna include a database, we might need to use host or user names to not make a confusion. I'm gonna call it dbhost, dbpass, and dbchars. And this is it. What is stays for us? Just to try to catch the connection. Let's see how easily it's being done. To do this, we are gonna use try catch statement. So what this try catch statement does, it tells, let's fix this later. So what this does, it tells try to connect. If you don't manage to connect, please catch the error and log out and stop everything from doing. We are gonna have this inside the variable, which I'm gonna call a PDO, and we create a new object. It's new PDO, and we start giving the details. So to do this, I'm gonna put it into double quotes. First of all, we are gonna tell what is the type of our driver. So that is it, our driver. And what's our host? Our host is gonna be kept inside this variable. So I'm gonna leave this as well. And let's say a database name also. I it's not like that. So I need to make this first. So DB name, and I made a small mistake. Let's make a DB name here too. It's gonna be DB name, and let's check what we called our database. Our database was called, let's check out in PHP MyAdmin, a blog. Let's go in here and put DB name blog, and let's copy this and put it into here. And on the last stage, we are gonna say what is our char set. Our char set is gonna be our DB chars, and we are going to give right after double quote two details, which are the username and the password to our connection. And what we need to do, we are gonna call it DB user and DB pass right after. We are also going to add two or one option. I believe it's enough for us to do one, to do an option. I don't want to give you much information today. So I believe one option to our connection. And I'm gonna leave a website for you to read more how PDO connection works. And what we do in catch, we call die, which means stop execution of any line of code right after this, and show this message to the person who visits our website. So which is error connecting database, like you can write everything, anything you need here, database. That's it. Just closing this, and we are done with the connection at this moment. And we can head over and test it. For this, we need to go to our website, click here and write the directory, which, if I'm not mistaken, is incdb, and it's already automatically remembering. We get an error. I made mistakes, I think. Yeah, in here, it does not need to be this semicolon, but simply two dots on the same line. And in the catch area, we need to give it a parameter and a name, and I'm gonna call it video exception and $e. Let's save this and check one more time. It's blank page, which means it's everything is correct. Just to show you the truthness of my words, I'm gonna echo a text in here, writing, hey, I'm working fine. Let's write this in here and still leave a mistake inside our code. For example, in here, let's save this and reload. Yeah, error connecting database, and everything else is gone. And now let's understand together why we did this actually in here. I believe it shall be clear to you if you have even a small experience in PHP. We could write everything in here as texts, like just copying instead of the variable in here. Let's copy this instead of db host, put here its value, but it's less professional. And sorry, it needs to be in single quotes if you are writing this or like this, but it's less professional. That's why we store everything into variable before putting this in here. But there is one more small thing why we put here die, and we wrote this text in here, while we could just echo this e. So let's connect it in here, and you can see what happens in here. It gives details about what's going on, what's the reason. So basically, if there was database error on your website and it was on your real running website, and basically anyone visiting could see that your database file is in this directory, counting from our Apache server root into our website, includes database and database PHP. And this is like voluntarily becoming a prey for hackers, giving them information which nobody needs to know. That's why we handle this error using try catch, and we don't let PHP to echo out the real error. We just can give any information in here. We can just even error connecting space, for example, and it's still gonna work. It's gonna echo whatever we want it to echo. Error connecting space. I'm gonna leave it's like space yet. I'm gonna fix the error. And by the way, if you noticed, if you write die or exit, it stops the execution of the file. So no line after that is being executed. There are two functions you can use in here. These are exit and die. In our case, die is better option. So if everything is correct, it won't die, it will connect and it will echo out the content. Yeah, hey, I'm working fine. I don't need this actually, it's just for you to show, and everything else is fine. Basically, we were able to make connection with this database. And now we can add, delete, update, and do any kind of thing which you can imagine with the database. So that's good. Today in this lesson we did everything that was we are supposed to do. In next lesson we will continue making our website into PHP, making it dynamic, including and requiring files, giving it relative file arrangement, and it's gonna be fun and easy. So join us in the next lesson. Thank you for watching.